Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Political Vigilante. Just wanted to give you a quick update. I had a video that was demonetized talking about last October's bombing in Mosul by Obama, and then there was one I talked about Israel pulling solar panels from Palestinian roofs. That was immediately demonetized, and I actually put that on Patreon in the $10 and up level. So they're still at it, everybody. So if you are a $10 and up Patreon backer, you get bonus video, and you can see that one. So you're gonna get an extra one this week. And so this video, we'll see what happens with this one. Then I posted another one where I just put in the title. It'll get demonetized if I give the title, and it's just about how we are claiming, we're giving more oil to the Saudis to do more shit in Yemen. So that's what's going on. Also, if you are at the $5 and up level, and I've emailed everybody 2 weeks ago at the beginning of the month, and some of you haven't responded, so please check your inbox. It might be in your spam folder. It came from the Patreon email to suggest the article to talk about. What I want to talk about today is the National Defence Authorisation Act, or NDAA, and this is the bill basically that is passed every year and always goes through very quickly. It's basically the budget for military spending. This year, we're going to authorize $696 billion in military spending, which is about $100 billion more than what Obama was spending, and he was still spending almost $600 billion. Gee, I wonder what we could do with $700 billion. I wonder if we cut that down to $250 or $300 billion. I wonder what we could do with $400 billion extra dollars. I wonder. Would we have contaminated water in Flint and North Carolina? Would the Dakota Access Pipeline now be leaking? Would that be happening? Would people not have health care? Would we have... think of all the stuff we could have. But, of course, with this jackass Trump, who was just doing, what Obama and what Bush did, and Clinton and everybody else, just more egregiously. So this NDAA, just so you know, the last 50 of these, which authorize funds to send policy for the Department of Defense, have reached the president's desk without a holdup. So any bills on education or healthcare or infrastructure or gun legislation or whatever, those always get held up. Those always can't quite get it to the president's desk. But this one, boom, boom, right to the president's desk without any problem at all. So what they're doing is they're adding a little thing they're trying to sneak through this year. And this is from an article in the Intercept by Dave Dane. Buried in the NDA, which is scheduled to pass the House Friday, is an increase in the amount of products which can be sold to the military without providing cost information. Data about the price of manufacturing and labor. Without this information, monopoly contractors could enjoy a huge markup on their sales to the government without anyone knowing about it. So first, let's talk about, before we go into why this is so corrupt, and this will benefit sole source contractors, meaning it's a non-competitive bid. So back in the 50s, there was the Truman Committee. And what the Truman Committee was all about, anti-monopoly, it was part of the strong anti-monopoly tradition in military procurement. And in the 50s and 60s, in 1962, they wrote the Truth in Negotiations Act, or TINA, which not a lot of people know about. And it favored competitive bidding. So under TINA, any sole source contracting required cost information so procurement officers of the Defense Logistics Agency could ensure they were only paying a reasonable markup without price gouging. So what they're doing, Section 803 of the House NDAA that they're trying to pass right now, raises the threshold for cost information in non-competitive contracts, meaning the contracts that are sole source with no other supplier for the government, from $500,000 to $2.5 million. The Senate version in Section 813 raises that threshold to $1 million. If both pass as written, the gift to contractors would be assured. The only question would be how big. So Congress wants to give them an extra $2 million, and they want to give them $1 million, and the Congress, and the difference in the Congress and the Senate. So there's all these companies like Transdigm, a private equity style conglomerate, specializes in cornering the market for proprietary parts for military aircraft and then jacking up the price. Oh boy. So this is the kind of stuff that we need to pay attention to, that I didn't know about the TINA Act. I didn't know about, I knew a little bit about the Truman Committee. And, it's going back to, and I did this several months ago, that speech that Eisenhower gave about, every bomber that we spend could get how many bushels of wheat, could build how many schools, could do all that. And this is just another example of that. So what this goes to, for me, in my opinion, is another reason why we have to hold politicians that are claiming to be progressives really seriously accountable, because everybody just buckles for this, So, and there's not even competitive bids. This is the kind of shit I saw growing up in Chicago, where some alderman, buddy would get the contract to fix the streets or whatever. There was no bidding process, and they gouged the government. It's our tax dollars that are doing this. It just shows you, like, we're an oil company with an army, as George Carlin said. We're not, this isn't, we're all, and this is the thing that drives me crazy, is, first of all, you can't challenge the defense budgets, but national security. What are you, anti-American? What are you, anti-soldiers, man? What are you trying to do to our men and women? Like, this has nothing to do with that. This is defense contractors gouging the government, which is basically our tax money, and spending whatever they want, and not being held accountable. This isn't a free market. A free market, if we're going to do free market economy and capitalism, then it's the highest bidder, and you get 3 or 4 bids, and who makes the best offer. But that's what you do in business, and that's what the conservatives always like to say. Oh, we need to be too much liberal regulation. It's like, well, this isn't a good business practice. If you ran a business and said, oh, okay, we're going to get one bid, and that person can charge us whatever the hell they want. Boy, that's great for business. Yeah. I'm a co-producer of the Los Angeles Podcast Festival. What if we did that? We have a rule, 3 bids. They got to be competitive. We weigh all the factors: price, budget, what we can afford, what if we just had an endless stream of money, of taxpayer dollars? So this is something I wasn't aware of, and I'm glad that Dave Dane and the Intercept are following this. And if you are not aware of this, you are now. And spread the word on this, because here's the last paragraph from Dave Dane. So far, no amendments have been filed in either chamber to eliminate the increase on sole source cost information thresholds. If it becomes law, it would be hard to even gauge its impact, because the entire point is to prevent disclosure of how much monopoly defense contractors are overcharging the government. So that's the thing too. Here's because this NDA also gives another boost to another monopoly provider, Amazon. Both the House and the Senate encourage the Pentagon to use online commercial sites for procurement, with speed and convenience again being the primary goal. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, who got a $600 million contract from the CIA. Weird that Amazon is now in this $700 billion deal. Right? And what is the Armed Services Committee doing? They claim they're cracking down on the acquisitions process. The Senate bill authorizes a study on software acquisition and enhanced training for procurement officers. The House version requires more oversight in service contracts, which make up about half of Pentagon contract spending. There's even a provision in the House bill inserted by Rep. Ro Khanna, a Democrat from California, who has led the charge on Transdigm, to study the ownership structures of defense contractors to prevent hidden monopolists with unreasonable prices. Well, let's see. Ro Khanna, some people are backing him and think he's a real solid progressive, and let's see if this is, if this is real, if he's really going to hold these defense contractors accountable. And all the more reason to, this is the thing. When conservatives come in, here's what you use, what the point of this story is. When conservatives come in and they play that we're better at business, these tax and spend Democrats, right? That's what they always like to say. Show them this. So is this a good business practice? Ask them that question. A single bid, a no bid contract where they can charge whatever, and now they can hide what they're charging, how they're gouging, what the actual cost is versus what they're charging the federal government, which is us taxpayers. Ask them that. As I've said, when you guys have asked me, when we do the Super Chat Sundays, how do you deal with either the neoliberals that aren't getting it, or, some of you are like, man, I live in a Trump state, and everybody, ask them these. I always come back with the question when someone says, oh, blah, blah, I go, ask them this question. Is this good business practice? Republicans always claim to be good at business. They're the big business, and the liberals are bad at business. I'm like, look at this. This is bloated government bullshit to feed defense contractors. And when defense contractors can charge whatever the hell they want, then yeah, they want war. And yeah, the government, they're going to buy every laser-guided blah, blah, blah. Remember, the Twin Towers got taken down with box cutters. Guys got onto a plane and used box cutters to take down the Twin Towers. So all this billions of dollars in all of this robotic blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. And now you've got, terrorists just hijacking a truck and just jumping in a truck and driving it, where's all the billions of dollars can't stop someone from just doing that. But if we stop spending all of this money and then people go, oh, what are we going to do with these jobs? Where are the defense contractor jobs going to go? Wolf Blitzer said that. Well, maybe these people could have jobs building, I don't know, roads and high-speed rail from coast to coast and solar panels and wind turbines. How about that? How about that's where this money could go? This money could put a lot of Americans to work doing the right thing, doing good things, making the world a better place, versus just a gluttonous war whorehouse. It's an all-you-can-eat war buffet for these jackholes. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. The Patreon link is below. Been getting some great support on that, and it's helping me do more videos and more content. The podcast is in iTunes, and I'm waiting for iTunes to approve it, but I've done all of the necessary work now, so the episodes are going to start being in iTunes. That'll be free for everybody, and I'll, of course, release bonus podcast episode if you're at the $5 level on Patreon. Thanks for watching.